Good afternoon, class. Thank you. You can sit down. All right, then today's lesson, we are going to continue with the topic we started last time on algebra. And we are going to hopefully look at expansion using the distributive law. But before we do that, we have to go through the homework that you were given. On numeracy. Okay, number one, I'm going to do it on the board, and then the rest of you can come and do those that I will select or who will volunteer will come and do the rest on the board. Okay, number one says plot the inequality minus 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than, or which is less than 1. Okay, well you have minus 2 on your number line and 1. Okay, it should be plotted, and the number line should be x. Is that the correct one? Okay, so minus 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 1. Number 2. Who would like to do number 2 on the board? 2a. Quickly. Margaret, you come and do letter A. Geno, letter B. Excuse me. Number 3. Siegfried. That's 3-1. 3-2. Megan. Okay, quick. There's enough space for 4 people on the board. Okay, number 2, it should be 3 times 20, it should be 3 times 9. 5 minus 2 is 3, 3 squared is 9, so this should be 27. So 18 minus 5 is 13, 13 plus 27 is 40. Okay, this is correct except that this should be 70. So it should be 70 and 5 on 6. Okay, number 3, 1 and 2, quickly. No. is that number 3? All right, number 3. Sorry, number 3, number 1. 3, 1, the answer is 4 root 5 plus 14 root 2. 6 minus 2 is 4, not 3. Number 3, part 2, 4 is correct. All right, next. Question 4. George. Question 5. Livingston. Question 6. Velma. Question 7. Natasha. All right, number 4, 2 over 45 is correct. Number 5, 4 squared times 2 to the power of 4 over 3 to the power of 4 is correct. If you want to, you can have it as 2 to the power of 8 over 3 to the power of 4. It's also correct. And don't forget, if you're writing like this, make sure you put it in brackets so that it means you are raising 5 over 9 to the power of 3. It's 125 over 729. Okay, so 4, 5, and 6 are correct. 7. Okay, Natasha will do number 7. Number 8, Andrew. Number 9, Kyle. Number 7, 5 is correct. Number 8, 1.08 times 10 to the power of 5 is also correct. Number 9, to two significant figures, 5.0, yes, and to two decimal places, 5.05. Is there any question? No? Okay. Right, I'm just going to explain very quickly what you're going to do on the board, and then I'll ask you to do the exercise. Okay, today's lesson is on expansion or removing of brackets. The law that is used is called the distributive law. Which states, for example, example number 1, if you multiply 2 by x plus 4, that means everything in the brackets must be multiplied by what is outside. So 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 4 will be 8. Sometimes okay, you can be told expand and then simplify, or remove the brackets and then simplify. You get 2x plus 8 minus 2x plus 6. And then 2x minus 2x is 0. 8 plus 6 is 14. That's expanding and then multiplying. Okay, based on that, we're now going to look at what is called the products of products of binomials, which you also do using the same law. If I gave you a plus b, okay, this is called a binomial expression because it has two terms, a and b. If I multiply that by c plus d, these are two binomials. And when you multiply, you get the product of two binomials. Okay, so a plus b multiplied by c plus d using the distributive law states that you have to multiply everything in one set of brackets by everything in the other set of brackets. So a times c is ac, a times d is AD, B times C is BC, and B times D is BD. Okay, for instance, 2x plus y times 3x minus 2y. Right, 2x times 3x will give us 6x squared. 2x times minus 3y will give minus 4xy. Then minus y times 3x will give minus 3xy. And minus y times minus 2y will give positive 2y squared. Okay, good. Is there any like terms? Yes? 6x squared minus 4xy minus 3xy will give us minus 7xy plus 2y squared. Okay, even if you had, let's say, 3 terms in a set of brackets, that means you have to multiply all the terms in this. Sorry, it should be, that's not really right. Okay, that comes in later on. I forgot that I'm actually doing binomials. The one that I wrote has 3 terms in the expression, so it's not included in here. We'll do that later. Okay, when we look at products of binomials, there are two special cases. The first case is when you have squares, so squares of binomials. For instance, a plus b times a plus b, or a plus b squared. Okay, if I multiply a plus b by a plus b, a times a will give me a squared. Then a times b, ab. B times a will give another ab. And b times b will give b squared, which is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, the shortcut to that is once you see a plus b squared, since you are in grade 11, instead of writing it as a plus b times a plus b and then doing that step by step. Gabriel, you have something to say? Okay. A plus b squared, if you see that, you get a times a, which will give a squared. And then the last term will be b times b, which is b squared. The middle term, what I do to remember the middle term, or that there is a middle term here, is I just look at these two and I multiply 2 by a and b. So I will get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, in grade 11, like I said, try and use your brains a little bit more instead of writing every little step. Okay, for instance, 2x plus 1 squared. I have seen students making a mistake and saying that this is equal to a squared plus b squared, which is wrong. That's not correct, because they are mixing the rule on indices where you have to square, but because you're multiplying, here you're adding, so you cannot just square a and you cannot just square b. There is a middle term. You usually end up with 3 terms when you are squaring binomials. So if you are asked to square 2x plus 1, right, you can rewrite it as 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1, but there is really no need. If I am to follow this, I square 2x, which is 4x squared, and the middle term is going to be 2 times 2x, which is 4x, times 1. All right, 2 times 2x is 4x, 4x times 1 is 4x. And then 1 times 1 will be 1. Okay, I want someone to give me the answer to 2m plus 3 squared. (2m plus 3 squared). Anyone? Solomon?
Square 2m and you get 4m squared.
And then?
Plus 4m. 2m
Well,
plus 2m.
go ahead.
2m plus 2m is 4m.
Okay, you multiply 2 by 2m,
Yes.
and then multiply it by 3, which will be?
4m plus.
It will be?
12m.
Okay, 12m. Plus, what's the last term? 9. 3 squared is 9, not 6. Okay, so it's actually very easy. The first term will be the square of this one. The last term will be the square of this. The middle term, all you have to do is multiply this by this, and then multiply it by 2. That's all. Okay, which brings us to the next one. This is called a standard result. That means you cannot change it. Now, if I change that plus b to minus b and say a minus b squared. A minus b squared is the same as a minus b times a minus b. And when you square that, you will get a squared, a minus ab, and another minus ab, and then plus b squared. Okay, just like what we did here. And then when we simplify, we get a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, if you can have a look at this and this. There is only one difference, and the difference is the minus sign. Because you are squaring a plus b, you will get a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And here you're squaring a minus b. Instead of a plus, you have a minus. The first term and the last term will be the same. They are all squares, because if you square a positive number, it's the same as if you square a negative number, you will get a positive number. So if I wanted to get the answer to, let's say, x minus 3 squared, what do you think the answer will be? Tau.
Minus. Minus 9x.
You sure? X times, note it's a minus 3 and multiply that by 2. Are you sure it's minus 9x? Okay, plus 9. What's the middle term going to be? Anyone? Minus 6x. Okay, x times negative 3 times 2. X times negative 3 is minus 3x, and minus 3x multiplied by 2 is minus 6x. Okay, the only difference is a minus sign. Okay, so that's on squaring of binomials. The more you do exercises on this, the better you will become. Because in grade 12, I do not like to see you going over, you using the distributive law. A times A is A squared, A times B, A times C. Use your brain a little bit more. Okay, and I've given you the shortcut. One more. Okay, this time we are going to look at those binomials. When you multiply, you get what is called a difference of two squares, or differences of two squares. For instance, A plus B times A minus B. I want you to give me the answer to this. A plus B times A minus B. What's the first term?
A squared minus b squared.
A squared minus
B squared.
B squared. How did you get A squared minus B squared?
Multiply the terms.
You just multiply the terms. Okay, A times A, that's correct. A times A is A squared. A times minus B is minus AB. B times A is plus AB. And then B times minus B is minus B squared. And minus AB plus AB is 0. That is why you end up with A squared minus B squared. Okay, this is called a difference of two squares. And it is called a difference of two squares because it has two terms This is a squared and b squared, and the sign in the middle is a minus sign. Okay, I would like you to try and remember this, because after this, a little later, we are going to look at factorizing, which is the reverse of removing the brackets. And I am going to go through this, and I'm going to go through this again to see if you can remember. Now, if you can have a look at this, note that the difference is that that's a plus and that's a minus. Now, if I gave you x plus 1 times x minus 1, have a look at it. What is the answer that I will get? Agnes? X plus 1 times x minus 1. Is there anyone who thinks they've got the answer to x plus 1 times x minus 1? Geno or Kila, here.
X squared minus 1.
X squared minus 1. All right, note. Please listen and watch. If you multiply, or if you get a product of two binomials, and you've got a plus b, these two terms are exactly the same, but the difference is this plus and this minus sign. You only have to get a square of this and the square of the other, because whatever you do, the middle term will disappear, because you will have a positive one and a negative one, which will become 0. Here also, this is like saying a plus b times a minus b. This one is squared, and 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, quickly, I'll just give you another one. 3mn plus ab times 3mn minus ab. Quickly, I should have a hand up already. Peter?
9mn squared minus a squared b squared.
Okay, 9mn squared or 9m squared n squared minus a squared b squared. Okay, good. Do not mix difference of two squares with squares. Difference of two squares, there are only two terms. When you square, there are three terms. There is always a middle term. So you do not just square a and square b and that will be your answer. Okay, there is a middle term, and the middle term you get by multiplying 2 times the two terms. Okay, if you find the shortcut hard, you can still do it step by step. It doesn't hurt. Okay, I want you to do exercise 1 on the screen. Okay, if you're getting notes, you have to start here and then here. Come to this one and then difference of two squares. Okay, A, B, C, and D. Quick. You have 3 minutes.
D.
All right, letter A. Ponrele, your answer, please.
$17.
Okay, 17 is the answer. Part B. Varanamo.
11x plus 5.
11x plus 5. Yes, C. Miriam.
7x minus 19.
7x minus 19 is correct. Gabriel, D.
43x minus 30.
Okay. Any questions? No? All right, this is what you are going to do for homework. You are going to continue the exercise and do question 2 and question 3 and question 4. Okay, there is another exercise that you are going to do. Don't worry, I'll give you the questions. All right, the keyword to the pilot teacher is distributive. Good afternoon, class.